What's up? We have been around long enough that we finally have a name. Welcome to Basketball Island.
Woo!
Yeah!
Let's go.
Why are you yelling?
I don't know. I'm loud. I'm naturally
Why
loud.
yelling?
And playoffs are here, more importantly. And like what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go through every series. If we like a bet, we're gonna do it. But at the time of the taping, we still don't know the 1/8. So maybe we'll briefly touch on that a bit. But like, let's start with the series everybody's talking about. You know, we're going to talk LeBron, and that's Lakers Nuggets.
Is that what everybody's talking about? Oh,
Maybe that's what you're talking
maybe what
about.
you're talking about.
Oh,
right?
the defending champs and the greatest player of all time. Like,
Why
that's
don't
not
why don't we
interesting.
just let Heinz start us off? I think you should kick this one off for us. What do you like the most
In
about
our last
this one,
pod,
Heinz?
If he doesn't say Lakers.
in
that's
our
fine.
last pod, my bold prediction was that the Lakers can win the Western Conference.
How do you feel now?
And I have one.
Wearing
know.
your LA hat.
Hey, look, I'll say this: if you're gonna get Denver,
Get him early.
is it not the perfect time to get him early? Where that we've all made the jokes before. How long does the first round last?
Yeah.
It's like a month. It feels like you're often getting 3 days rest, sometimes 4 days rest. LeBron with extra rest. Wes is making a face. 4 days
think
rest.
it's four- I don't think-
At 4 days rest is
think
it's
it's
a
4 days
rarity, but it'll happen.
3 days rest. There's a lot of like
4 days rest?
There's long breaks. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
times
there's
where
no
team will play
back-to-backs.
Sunday and then they'll play Thursday. Like that's happened.
You can give the Lakers all the rest they want. They're not, okay, I don't think this is going to be a sweep. It's not going to be the most competitive
I'll give
sweep
you
of all
that. I'll
time.
give you that. No sweep.
But
No sweep.
they, the Nuggets have owned them straight up. They've owned them all season.
Eight straight, and then 4 of those 8 by double digits.
Jokic puts that team in a headlock, man. So while I think the Lakers probably get 1, maybe 2, are you saying they're going to win 4 of 7 against this Nuggets team?
I am right now. The Lakers they're really peaking. I referenced it a lot last time, going back to like mid-March. They've really hit their stride. We've seen earlier in the year in the in-season tournament when it's like kind of like big game time. Yes, and I know that's a one-off, not a best of 7 series. Here's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna sit on the fence, and I know it's very much in character for me to just ride both sides here. I'm gonna bet the Lakers to win the series at just over plus 300. But I'm also going to bet Denver at minus 2.5 because I think this goes one of two ways. Either the Lakers are competitive in this series and have a shot, or Denver just mops the floor with them. If I bet both of those, and I think one of those will hit, I'm making money because they're both plus money.
It's so embarrassing.
I mean, there's a possibility that both lose also.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah, you expose yourself to a double loss.
Yes, hey,
Okay.
that's why it's called gambling.
Best chance Lakers have in this series if they win game 1.
Of course.
If they don't,
of course.
they need to go in
course,
and they need to
yes.
win game 1, and then they can probably sit for game 2. And you have to play the LeBron health rest card very, very well. I don't see it though. I just don't see it.
I have a quick question for you, though. So I think other people are thinking this, too. Were you encouraged or discouraged by their performance in the play and win?
Honestly, man, I would say I was probably discouraged, but like that was just I was more in awe of everything I saw from Zion, and then heartbroken in the way that ended. And I honestly, if Zion doesn't go down, Lakers probably lose that game.
I would be discouraged by the way Anthony Davis played.
Yeah, he was garbage. He was absolutely
And
garbage. Although late in that fourth quarter, he picked
Yeah,
up the fourth quarter, grabbed a ton of offense and led to
defensively,
important
One or
buckets.
two good
Defensively,
moments,
they're
but
great.
needs to be 4 to 8 minutes of
He needs to be an
Yes.
offensive monster.
Yeah.
I think his defense is always there, so credit to him. He's been good all year. He showed up. He's played the game.
He was bad in that game, though.
Offensively, they need him to be a guy. Now, I think the Lakers do have more firepower offensively.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have Bruce Brown, who I think is... I'm sorry, they're not going up against Bruce Brown, the Nuggets series, who destroyed them. Destroyed D'Angelo Russell, your boy in particular.
Russell, who just
No
the
Vanderbilt.
dagger.
No Vanderbilt, no Schroeder, but they do have, Gabe Vincent. They got more offense, so I think they will be able to hang with the Nuggets. If AD is not punishing Jokic inside on offense, I think they're going to have a problem.
Yeah, it's interesting because going back to last year's playoffs and even this year, the games are all competitive.
Yeah.
They come down to the wire. So that is encouraging for the Lakers, but you have the ultimate problem solver in Jokic
Yeah.
late in games. So can you go shot for shot with him down the stretch? And they haven't proven to do that. So I don't think they're going to be able to win those close games consistently enough to actually win the series.
All right, so Heinz, since you brought the series up first, I have a sprinkle bet that's my long shot bet out of all the playoff series. I like Jamal Murray to be the leading point scorer in this series.
I like that.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
it's plus 330 on FanDuel. He's the 4th choice behind AD, LeBron, and
Wow,
Jokic.
okay.
I like
so
that.
I'll tell you really quickly why. I like the fact that he was the leading point scorer in this series last year. I love the fact that he's shooting 55% from the field and 64% from 3 since he's returned from injury. We're Canadian. We all know this. Playoff Murray is a real thing.
Yes.
And I think this series against how the weakest part of Lakers defense is the perimeter.
Yeah. Austin
And I
Reeves,
think-
D'Angelo Russell.
Let me just push back for a second. Murray, obviously, he's got the playoff chops. He's proved it. He's got a ring. Is it realistic to expect him to take a step back in the postseason at some point? Like, it's hard to keep elevating your game more and more. Like, do we maybe see him play not as well as he did last year in the conference finals?
For sure, possible. My counter to that is just he's on a really good shooting. Like his shooting stroke is really on right now since he came back from injury. So I love seeing that. That's over, I think, 8 games.
But I think you're going to see, to Fab's point, you're going to see a lot more of the stuff that works. And Murray Jokic dribble handoff is unstoppable.
Yeah.
So when you need a bucket, you're going to go to the stuff that you can get buckets with.
Yeah.
And I know this goes counterintuitive, and you're smirking at me, but I remember last year at this time, Wes,
Wes smirks at everyone.
Wes
I do.
is a very, very nice guy, but sometimes can be arrogant with his basketball takes.
Yeah, sometimes.
And last year, the
Sometimes.
one time we really argued was the look you scoffed at me for wanting the Lakers over Memphis in this very same 2-7 matchup last year. And look where that ended up. So,
Oh yeah, listen, man. Like you said, gambling, like you lose like 48% of the time. So I get it. I can't be fretting like that. But yeah, again, Murray is plus 330. That means
It's a good number.
I like that.
It's a
I like
great
that
number,
bet. I'll
and
sprinkle.
You guys like anything in this series or no?
I took a glance at Austin Reeves to lead the series in threes because it was 20-1, and I looked at his volume last year. I mean, he had games where he was taking over 10 a game. So I haven't committed to it, but looking at it.
Hambo, nothing?
I don't like
You're scared of the West,
much. I don't like much in these playoffs, man. I'm still mourning Jimmy Butler and his injury. I'm mourning the Sixers and the Knicks matching up. I have some leans I like.
Are we
but
mourning the loss of Tyler Hero's game as well in that embarrassing plan?
We had his jersey hanging up.
Yeah, we had to take his jersey down after what we saw last night.
So we're moving on from Lakers.
Yeah,
Nuggets,
yeah,
right?
okay.
So,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all agreement. We
It's
think
juicy.
Nuggets are probably winning, but you're kind of straddling the fence. With
Yeah,
you guys,
I'm
right?
riding the fence as expected.
Okay.
So where are we going then? Do you want to go to the Suns or do we want to go to Mavs and?
I mean, I think we got some
Clippers?
takes on Suns. We got some takes
You
on
wanna go Suns?
You
Yeah,
guys
let's
like
go
the
Suns, yeah.
Suns.
I think the Suns are going to win against the Wolves. I think they're going to win in at least 5 or 6 games. So
Wow.
a -1.5 in the spread.
ooh,
I'm not a huge Suns guy. I haven't been all year. They've been hard to watch because they're just so flawed. They've been so up and down. Terrible fourth quarter team. I just think the NBA is all about matchups.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is not a good matchup for Minnesota. Phoenix went 3-0 against them this season. I think they were a +47 in those games, and games that mattered. And if you're looking at this series, love Ant Edwards. Is
Love
he
him.
the second best player, third best player in the series?
Might be the third.
Might be the third. So I just don't like the way this crumbled for Minnesota, and I think Phoenix has the shot making to punish them
And there's
appropriately.
and you said shot making. So Phoenix is kings in the mid range. The Wolves are really, really good at
they-
protecting the paint, protecting the rim. Phoenix doesn't need to get their buckets
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
can operate pretty much
This is-
outside the paint with great efficiency. and I
This is
think
the
that's
perfect
gonna be the
opponent. This is the perfect opponent for Phoenix. To Fab's point, I'm not going to be. I like them. I think they're -140 for the series. That's going to be one of my bets. But +340, Suns and 6. I love the exact series number. 'cause I
this-
think Minnie's still good enough to win.
to clarify, though,
games.
that's an exact total.
Yes, exactly.
So you
Yeah,
need
yeah, in 6.
Yeah, that's
It's
why
not-
I have them -1.5. If
Yeah.
not
Be
that I think-
bold.
Yeah, be bold.
Suns and
be
6.
bold.
This series is an indictment on Carl Anthony
Yeah.
Towns. I personally think he is not a great playoff player. He is making a lot of money. Minnesota's about to run into a lot of tax problems. Sorry. Like they're running into some money issues, all right? I don't know where he fits in this particular
He fits
series.
on the Knicks roster next year.
I don't even know if he's a Tibbs guy, man. Like, I just think to me, his skill set on this particular Minnesota team and what he can do come playoff time, I think might actually be a hindrance.
Big time.
My question is, where do you line him up defensively against the Suns?
Royce O'Neal.
But guys who can all hit threes. So
Yeah.
he's gonna have to get out on the perimeter, and I
gonna
don't
have to
think that's
defend.
advantageous for
He's
them at all.
He can't foul out in big games again. Like, he's going to have to hit shots.
And Nurkic can hang in this series
Yeah.
because they have Gobert, so
Yep.
they have a traditional center
And
that
Nurkic is
you're not
screen
gonna,
setting
right.
in the perimeter, bringing Gobert out, freeing guys up for mid-range shots. I agree with you that I think Phoenix does have the advantage matchup-wise. With that said, I think we're sleeping on Minnesota a little bit.
Maybe.
Like, game
Minnesota's
one
been
at
great,
home,
man. Minnesota's been fantastic.
I got
I'm
Nas Reed, 6th man of the year. Like, Ant-Man is a two-way monster. Like, I don't know, man.
No,
Game
they
one,
deserve respect. I think
Yeah.
they could have beat a lot of other teams
Yeah.
in the first round. My main red flag for them is fourth quarter offense.
Yeah.
They they don't generate good looks late in games, and you're going against shot makers, guys who just can get buckets at any time. So if you're stuck in the mud, you're going up against Booker and Durant. That's tough. And honestly, Booker is a 28 a game scorer his career in the playoffs. He led the playoffs last year in scoring. Like
he elevates.
He's a dude who
that guy
elevates,
elevates,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, Beal's actually coming into form. You got to give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
So he's really rounding out. I just want to be on record. I'm betting Phoenix as well.
Wow.
It's the same two things. I just think all the strengths that T-Wolves have, like you guys already said, they're kind of neutralized with what Phoenix's offensive strengths are. And I just always in playoffs, I like experience over upside and talent. And I just think the matchup is probably as bad.
I don't even know if this is being offered, but a sneaky bet for that series I was looking at was Nurkic to lead the series in rebounds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very
No, he's been a good rebounder.
Interesting bet. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that series can go deep.
Yes,
It's gonna go deep. I like the Wolves in game 1.
Now, speaking of a series that's going to go deep, and a bet I love, there's a theme with a lot of the bets I like. It's a lot of like small unit, nice plus money. Mavs Clippers to go 7 plus 240. Is that series, if any series is destined for 7, is it not Mavs Clippers?
Well, it depends.
The trilogy, baby.
Yeah,
let's go with the trilogy.
The series comes down to Kawhi Leonard's health. I mean, we did our tier list. I had Kawhi as like the second best player in the league in the playoffs. The fear was always, the biggest caveat was injury.
Yep.
And he's again seems to be hobbling.
we don't know. We don't know what.
Tie loose,
I think this is a
flip-flopping.
bit of gamesmanship. I
hope so.
I'm assuming he's going to be ready for game 1. I think they were giving him a little bit of a break leading into the playoffs, which he probably needed. So a couple weeks ago, I said I like the Mavs or the Clippers to not make it out of round 1 because they were going to face the Mavs. But now everyone is on the Mavs.
Yeah.
Everyone, their brother, their mother, their father, everyone is on the Dallas bandwagon. So
Your sister.
do I need to zag here? I just don't love how everyone is on Dallas now, even though I do believe Luka is ascending into, one of the top 2-3 players in the league, and guys like that often win these kinds of series.
Yeah, you talk about this series and the next 3 that we're going to talk about. My concern about these versus the first 2 we talked about, every one of the next 4 has an injury-related question mark that really makes it tough to peg and handicap. But all things equal, if Kawhi was healthy and everybody's going into this full strength, I do agree with you. I think it goes 7. I think this is a very evenly matched series. I think both teams, you can argue very easily that both teams have the skill set to win this series outright.
They've still hit to win it all, quite frankly. I think they have the guys, the top 5 players that can win you a title.
This is one of the toughest series to pick.
It's
even
so
though
hard.
I like Dallas as well. Okay.
And here's the other thing
tough.
too with the Clippers. There is a ton of pressure on them to win in this series and in the playoffs.
One
because
guy in particular.
Paul George could leave.
Yep.
Harden can potentially
There he is.
leave. I mean, he's probably going to
James
get paid.
Harden.
But if they don't make it out of the first round, blow this up. I mean,
And
what are we doing
Paul
here?
George is a free agent, too.
Paul
man.
George
Like,
might
there's
say, I don't want to
lot
be a
of
part of
line.
this anymore.
My biggest red flag on the Clippers coming into this bet, and this is why I leaned on the Mavs, their defense, just the numbers speaking on cleaning the glass, has really dropped off a cliff. I think they're 24th in D rating since the All-Star break. Dallas, who we always give them for being a bad defensive team, they've really turned that side of the ball on for them. So both offenses they can hum, but Dallas has really turned up their defense. Can the Clippers just magically turn it on? If so, it's going to be
I don't know how you bet the Clippers without seeing how Kawhi plays.
Yeah, you can't. Well,
I don't know how you do it personally. Like, that's the ultimate gamble.
I'm not picking a side in the series at all. I'm just
Hard,
gonna
man.
sit back with my popcorn and enjoy 7 games and plus money. Because like I don't know, I have no clue who's gonna win this series. I'm like Fab, I kind of lean towards Dallas, but it worries me that everybody's on them.
You're going to be the happy guy on that bus
exactly.
staring at the scenery while we're all sweating, staring in the darkness.
Do you want to stay west real quick here?
Yeah,
let's
let's
touch
just
on OKC real quick.
We can touch on OKC real quick because I don't think any of us thinks either whether it's like look the play-in is Friday. We're taping this on Thursday. We don't think Sacramento or the Pelicans have a shot.
I think they're gonna, especially with Zion out. I think they're gonna get a favorable matchup in the first round.
Their draw is now fantastic.
Everyone's like, there's like a lot of this narrative, like everyone's trying to get OKC. People are talking about the Lakers.
Oh, you know how
tanking
fast
the
I would have
play-in
bet the Lakers? Like I just would have.
I bet you would.
FanDuel app bet if it was Lakers Thunder.
I bet you would. I was like, OKC, man, like they have a decent path, easy path into the second round, in my opinion. All of a sudden, like they're decent value out the West as well. I want to wait and see a little bit on that, but value's completely flipped. They got Shea, man. Shea's a killer.
The the regular season, it's cute. It's cheery. It's it's very
to see
fun.
it, yeah.
The playoffs are where we start really appraising players. What are you really made of? The Thunder are young. Shea had an MVP caliber season.
Yeah.
Now I want to see how do you translate that
Can
to the
Chet
playoffs.
Holmgren
And I think he
handle-
will.
Yeah.
I think his
Yeah.
game's built for it. I think he will deliver. But it's time to prove it.
He's a little bit of a grifter with the fouls. I don't know if you're gonna get those calls.
Maestro of the mid range, though.
Great in the mid range. I think Chet Holmgren to me, the size or lack thereof inside.
Are
the
you
playoffs.
concerned with his fall off though? The last month of the season was
I don't
not
think
pretty
he's
for
fallen
Chet.
off. I don't think he's
Oh,
fallen off
He
that
had,
much.
dude, as someone who sweated through fantasy playoffs with him and
Fair
just
point.
disappointing
I
lineup
think he's
for
been
this one
consistent
line.
defensively. Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, sure. I
No,
had
no,
him as
it's just
well.
the offense dried up a bit. The offense was really strong
Just gives him
before.
a 5-out option. I think really helps Shea kind of operate
me,
there.
he looked-
J-Dub as well. I think he's going to do very well.
First full season, he looked a little tired and gassed.
Yeah, he
down
played
the
all 82
stretch.
games.
I know,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying though. Like he looked like a diminished version of himself, and that concerns
He's the
me a
key.
little with the Thunder going into the playoffs.
He is the key.
I have 1 point on Thunder. Like you said, high pressure situation. We'll see if they show up. Do you know who's the number 1 clutch time shooter in the NBA this year? It's not Shea.
J-Dub.
J-Dub
Yeah.
was he shot like 65%
Yeah.
in clutch time situations. So they got 2 dudes who can really bring it when, push comes to shove.
And that's the most important thing come playoff time.
I
is getting
can't
those
wait
late
to see.
buckets.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see if that continues.
Here's the thing with their path too. It's that they should win the first round. They'll have a real chance against LA or Dallas.
Yep.
If Denver somehow gets upset,
Yeah.
you have home court no matter what in the conference finals. I know you're young, but they end up with Phoenix or someone like that.
Yeah.
Tell me they can't win that series. So things could break properly for them, right?
Which would be an
And
amazing
they're,
feat.
They're plus 600 to win the West.
Yeah,
at
the
the
second
time of this
choice.
taping.
Second choice.
Second choice, and they dropped a lot because they were being completely undervalued based on the seeding,
I'll be
right?
fading them second round, and if they win
All right.
that, I'll be fading them.
On the
conference
record.
finals.
All
On
right,
the record, I'll
okay.
be fading them. Not in the first round. I think they.
I'm
they're
just saying
smashed,
they
but-
have a chance.
Yeah, they
right?
have a path.
They have a chance.
At least
let's-
you made a take.
Now we're about to get way less fun. Let's go to the Eastern Conference, and I don't know. I think we got to start with Philly and the Knicks here. This is pretty much even. These honestly, we're not even gonna. These odds are changing like
Yeah.
crazy. Through 3/4 of the Heat game, I'm like, Embiid's done. There's no chance I'm betting Philly. After I saw that fourth quarter, I seen enough. I'm hammering the Sixers. I love Philly against the Knicks.
To
Go.
me, this is like having to pick and tell your kids who's the favorite son.
Yeah.
I like both these teams
Me too.
very much.
Me
Now,
too.
again, like I said earlier, both of these teams have a major injury-related question mark, which sucks. You're not getting either team at full strength, and I think that's going to dictate a lot of how the series go. That being said, love both coaches. I love both styles of play. I love they both got these grinders who can close out the game. It's very close to even money, and I think it's appropriately handicapped. I couldn't tell you who's better. If you come out of that Sixers game, I think right now I lean the Knicks because Embiid clearly looks like he's just a step slow.
I would have backed either team against any other opponent in the East.
I know,
And that's
I know,
now they
I
end
know.
up playing each other, and like
I hate it.
I'm
I
like
hate
sitting
it.
here, like I don't know. I also lean Knicks. I don't feel good about it. I just
No.
think they're beefy. I think they got size. I think OG Anunoby defensively is a monster. Queen on the chessboard, can guard literally
What happens
anyone.
when he's hurt in game 2, though?
There you go.
Fair point, fair
Injury,
point.
Again, injury-related question
you
mark.
know why I lean the Knicks too? Tobias Harris.
No, you did not. Oh my God, got me.
Man,
Got me.
This guy, the Jimmy beef
Got
runs
him.
deep, and you're just
Got
riding for
him.
Jimmy still.
Yo, man, Tobias Harris, man, like I actually think he's a decent human being from everything I've seen. Just come playoff time, man, like the angst of the Philly crowd when he has to take a big shot.
Oh, they turned on them quick.
Yeah.
in that
he
play.
clanked an open 3 against the Heat,
Yeah.
like late in that game, too late in the play-in. Like I worry about him coming up big when it is required because I do think the Knicks have a great defense. I'm leaning Knicks. I don't feel good about it, but I'm leaning Knicks.
It's kind of a personality test in terms of how you're picking the series because the Knicks are all about chemistry,
Yeah.
vibes. You could tell those guys all love each
Yeah.
other. New York as a city is fired up. The vibes are there. But you look at Philly, Embiid's better than anyone on New
Embiid,
York.
best
for
player,
sure.
best
So
player in the
are you
series.
going with where the talent is, or are you going with the chemistry aspect? And that's what makes it tough. And also with Philly, Nicky Nurse, baby.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That guy's
I know.
he's
Kyle
a playoff
Lowry,
warlock,
Kyle
man.
Lowry.
I know. So
I
it's,
like both these teams.
to be fair, I may just get my popcorn out
Oh,
for
yeah,
this
yeah.
series.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
where I'm going on this one either at this point. I will say though, the Knicks, physical as hell. They rebound the hell out of the ball. Brunson, I mean, shout this guy out.
yeah,
This
we haven't
guy,
talked
this guy
about
might be
Brunson
all
yet.
NBA
But
first
he could be the best player in the series
He probably
given the
not-
health of Embiid.
He probably will be.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that out there. Now. He will probably be the best performer in this series. Embiid is just not 100%, not even close to 100%. So what can you ask out of him?
And just with OG Anunobi, the Knicks 19-2
Yeah,
or something
something
obscene
crazy.
like that.
When he
They're
plays.
125
When he
offense.
plays.
I mean, It's crazy how good they've been with him.
I honestly, too, though, on a game-to-game basis, I think this is an under series. I think like hammer.
Oh, yeah.
If you hammer under all 7 games, you might go what 5-2.
Hammer the unders and then go over on the games too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like this thing is going deep, and I love the Villanova connections.
Like
all
don't forget
throughout.
this was the
Kyle
game
Lowry.
where they had like the 80-78 game
Yeah.
this year. Yeah,
But
that was them.
even if you like Philly to come out of the series, what kind of shape is Embiid going to be in after a Knicks series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may win the battle. You're not
Yeah.
going to win the war, man.
Possible.
All right, let's go to
gauntlet.
now. In our last pod, we all had the same bold take of that we were fading the Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
And now we know the news. It doesn't seem like, based off of that report, I don't think Giannis is playing in the series.
Even with Giannis.
If I was lucky enough to get Indy at plus 200, like Fab did, and I'm glad you
Early.
did.
Good
Glad
for you.
we did.
Good
Glad
for
you did.
Good for you, man.
This now is pretty much evenly matched, and I think all of you guys are on the Pacers. I'm gonna throw out 3 bets here,
I'm heavy on the
and this is just a big sprinkle here.
Sprinkle.
What we got?
This is like a chat bet. Everybody in the
Yeah,
chat
this
is
is-
on.
yeah.
it.
this is-
Everyone's on this.
So-
bet.
Look at this guy. This is like Hein asking, like, hey, come see this video, and he's sitting there queuing it up for
Sorry.
like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, that does happen.
Just be ready, man.
I'm using the internet. Shout out Matt King.
That's an old gag at TSN.
So Halliburton to score 20 in every game, plus 800. Halliburton 10 assists every game, plus 600. Halliburton 3 threes every game, plus 490. I think you go half unit on all of those. One of those is going to hit. Got a nice fun stat for you here. Milwaukee lets up an average 1.94 points above expected. 2 point guards, which is bottom 10 in the NBA. And we talked about it last time. In the playoffs, when you have a weak defender like Damian Lillard, you attack that.
So
Not just
I want to
Dame.
say one thing right away because this is a betting podcast. To say one of them's going to hit. Here's the problem with that type of logic. All you need is the same thing to happen to Tyrese in one game. The whole bet blows up.
Yeah.
So you can't say one of them's going to hit. This is important. If he gets hurt in one game,
Yep.
all 3 bets
You're done.
dead.
You're done.
Right? So you can't say one of them's going to hit.
But I'm saying
Right?
at the value that they are, those are big numbers. You don't even.
No, but to bet them all 3 together, what I'm saying to you is it's the same X.
Yes,
that
yeah,
hits all of
I
them.
understand that. I'm taking a risk. I'm not there's it's an injury completely kills it. But that's why they're small. That's like a half unit each play.
Foul, like
half unit.
Now,
half
like, I
unit
know he
each
doesn't
play.
foul anybody, but I'm just saying, like, foul trouble blows all that
Arguing
up.
with Hyde's logic is like arguing
It's
with
all
Kyle
good.
Lowry.
I'll say this.
I just want it on record.
I know, I understand
that's
that.
the danger.
I
with
don't
that
have.
bet.
I don't have this. Like, look, I'm all for fading the Bucks. I still think they can, even without Giannis, they can
yeah?
still win the series. I'm not at the confidence level of your other guys to bet Indy, but from a fun gambling perspective, where I can put a little bit. That's a unit and a half.
Yeah,
a unit and a
that's
half
fun.
on those type of payouts. I will happily take that.
Can
risk
we
on
talk about the Giannis injury? Like,
Go ahead.
So that guy averaged. Oh, let me look. 42 points a game against the Pacers.
Was it 42?
Pretty-
I thought it was higher. Anyways,
Like that's
We all, I think we talked about this. We all his points and his Godfathers
yeah.
and his
that
adjusted
is
his alt line.
an insane number
Yeah.
to just lose. Indy went 4-1 against them this season as well. They had their number with Giannis. You take him out. I'm sorry, man. They haven't now. Again, caveat. They haven't played them with Pascal Siakam in the lineup. I think Siakam, in his role right now, we're not the biggest fans. I think he's been playing defense.
yeah.
He's been super
Oh,
efficient.
yeah, he's been good for them.
Indy just has guys, man, and I think Damian Lillard's gonna have a rough go.
Yeah,
I think Chris Middleton's gonna have a rough go.
ahead.
Aaron
Go ahead.
Nesmith can be a guy too. Like, I like the amount of guys the Pacers have, and the Warlock, Rick Carlisle
Yeah.
versus Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Just give me all of the
Yeah.
Pacers. I got my. I'll go with my bets after you guys speak, but I love the Pacers.
I'm just shouting out a point that Fab made earlier. A lot of the playoffs is all about matchups. The one thing I like about this matchup the most, especially without Giannis, the whole Pacers defense is predicated on taking away the 3-point line. The Bucks are the 4th worst at rim scoring team, and that's with Giannis in the lineup. So if this guy misses any number of games, I think the Pacers absolutely are going to cook them in those first 2 games, depending on how many he misses. It's matchup based. Everything that the Pacers try to do on offense is exactly what the Bucks are incapable of doing, especially without Giannis.
yeah. I mean, listen, I like the where I got Indy odds wise. So I think it will be.
We're glad you did.
We're glad you.
Thank
see,
you. I appreciate
happy,
that.
man.
The CLB banner right here.
so happy for you.
If I'm pushing back on Indy, is because Halliburton has actually not been great
Yes.
the last
Yeah.
30 games. So, to your
More
bet,
than
him
that,
hitting
since
20,
the in-season
he's
tournament.
only averaging 16 and a half since returning from injury. So he's not even averaging 20 points. I will say with Siakam, though, their defense has gone from atrocious to middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack.
So it's a respectable level for how good their offense is, which is still second in the league behind Boston.
They just went from 1st to 2nd.
once
That's
again,
it. Yeah,
this
that's it.
just talking about this, is Giannis playing or not? I mean, this is
That's
just a
all it is.
massive,
That's all it is.
massive question that we don't have an
Based off
answer
of
to
what
right
we
now.
know from that injury, and I think everyone's making the KD point, I don't think there's any chance this guy plays.
Well, and you know what?
Yeah,
If he doesn't come back and they lose, Doc Rivers will sleep like a baby all off season. He's gonna have his hands up. He's gonna say, you know what? We couldn't win.
built-in excuse.
Yeah, Doc loves a built-in excuse, man.
Calf injuries, man. Calf injuries are tough.
I agree. So we like the Pacers.
Pacers.
I like the Bucks.
Yo,
Chat bet,
here are
chat
my
bet.
bets for the Pacers that I really, really like. I like them to win Game 1 and the series. That's plus 165.
Yep.
I like them to win the series. I would sprinkle them at minus 1.5 series spread as well.
Okay.
I think-
Bullish.
is Chris Middleton washed?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dame Lillard, I know he's going through some stuff. He's still Dame. Dame time shows up in the playoffs. I worry about his defense.
Yep,
I
fair.
also like the guys Indy can throw defensively
Sure.
at him. Miles Turner can pull Brook Lopez out of the paint. I think it's just a very, very nice series. Pacers.
Miles is a dude whose points I'll be betting. I like Miles' points in that series.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the built for NBA TV. There will
yeah,
be
yeah.
Everyone's making
there will
MVP
be no
special.
Pitbull playoff intro to this series.
Can we just pay homage to
Yeah.
10 years
10
ago?
years of Pitbull.
The best, playoff
Playoffs.
intro we've ever seen, you know?
Crossover, get the J off. Playoffs. Roll
Playoffs.
the tape. Roll the tape, Connor. Roll the tape.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. The bigger the heart, the harder they ball. Crossover, pull up, keep the J off. All of you slam dunk playoffs. So I suggest you get your game on player. If you're ready for the playoffs, say yeah. We about to clown. Why? Cause it's about to go down.
Cavs Magic. I like two bets here. I'm gonna go this series to go 6 exact plus 200. This series to go 7 exact plus 230 because, and West is making faces again.
I just love your bets. I love your bets. I love your bets.
No, you
That's
don't.
all.
No, you
I
don't.
love your bets. I love
They're all
That's
plus
not the word
size.
for it.
Plus size bets.
all plus size.
They are. Hey man.
For sure.
I see either team. I think Cleveland wins this series, but I think Orlando
No.
can easily steal a couple games.
Magic, baby.
Yeah, that's fine. But if they do, the Magic aren't winning in 4 or 5. They're going to win in 6 or 7, and one of those bets hits.
I like-
and you only need one of them to hit to make money, Wes.
Unless everyone in Magic gets hurt. Yeah.
It's math.
I like Magic plus 1.5 in this series. I think this series will go deep.
so you like those two bets?
Yeah, they-
I
They're
feel like
yeah,
the,
they're correlated.
the Cavs are they're cowards, man.
Yeah, there's
They're
no
cowards.
defending what they did. Just to remind anybody, they lost to Charlotte on purpose to get Orlando in round 1, which is fine. You get Orlando, which you should beat them. But that puts you in the Boston half of the bracket. So what you told everyone was, we're happy with winning one series because we don't care what happens after that. It's really embarrassing. It's embarrassing
cowardly.
for the
It's
franchise.
super
There's no
It's like the
defending
opposite
it.
of what the Knicks did, right?
Yeah,
Knicks
it-
going for the 2 seed, showing some moxie, showing some heart. Whoever you come at us,
Yeah.
we're going to take on. After what the Cavs showed us last playoffs, how could you have any belief in this team? Donovan Mitchell also might be hurt, man. Like we
That's
don't really
a big
know.
question. Another injury related.
Jared
question
Allen,
mark.
like I know, like
Mitchell's
people like
someone
him
who
in
I like to
stature.
fade in this series. Normally he's a big game playoff guy, but going against those Orlando defenders, I kind of like under on Mitchell's
like-
points.
Look, I don't want to spend too much time on this series.
I like
okay?
this series.
I'm leaning, unfortunately, I want Cleveland to be punished.
Oh.
I'm leaning Cleveland to win. Listen, I've watched a lot of Magic. I had them to win the division. I love the way they play. They're young, they're tenacious. Paolo Banchero is a superstar in the making. They have the 22nd worst offense in the league. You get to the playoffs, they're very young. They can't manufacture shots. So if you're telling me they're going to win all of these low-scoring dogfights 4 times, fine. But on paper, Cleveland still has guys who can, score when they need to, right?
Yeah.
And Orlando, I don't know if they have that. And I don't want to fade them, but I'm trying to be realistic with this team.
I have one long shot bet, and then I got nothing else to say about the series.
Oh, look who's coming in with plus money, eh?
Exactly. So you talked about Mitchell being hurt. You talked about Orlando lacking offense. So Darius Garland to lead
Points.
the
Yeah, I
series,
like this.
and 3-pointers
Threes.
is plus 500.
Okay.
So a 1 out of 6 chance that he's going to lead the league in the series in 3-point shooting. Last playoffs, Mitchell had 13 threes. Darius Garland had 12. If Mitchell's hurt, Darius Garland's going to have to do a lot more shooting. And if you actually watch Cleveland basketball this year, they've really revamped their offense. They are a very 3-point heavy offense this year. And Orlando is the opposite. They don't really do anything. Jalen Suggs their best 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
So I just like that bet. I don't like anything else in the series.
Two key matchups I'm looking for in this series real quick. Obviously, Paolo versus Mobley. I think that's going to be very
That's gonna be
interesting. Paolo's going to have to create a lot in that
look forward
series.
to that.
Mobley's, I'm still on Mobley Island.
I like Paulo in that matchup though.
Paolo's more
Physical.
beefier. Yeah, he's
Physical.
he can create. That's key. If he can get by Mobley and put him in precarious situations over and over, because Paolo's going to be the dude that has to create.
Of course.
Another matchup I really, really like. I'm already looking at the next year of a Defensive Player of the Year favorite. And
Yeah, Such.
I even saw, dude, Jonathan Isaac,
yeah.
man.
When
If
he's
Jo-
healthy.
If
Again,
Jo-
if
when
he's
he's healthy,
healthy.
biggest caveat ever. When Jonathan Isaac's in there, if that matchup with him and Jared Allen potentially, because Wendell Carter, can he hit enough threes to keep you honest? I think they're going to play Isaac small ball 5 a couple times. If he can bang threes and dominate defensively, to me, he is a big time swing factor in that
Yeah,
series.
I think he's a stocks every game guy. I'll bet all stocks that entire
That's
series.
if his back doesn't seize up on him.
That's
Yeah,
the
as long as he doesn't
That's
get
it.
hurt, because you got to think, what was he playing in the regular
Biggest
season?
caveat.
Like around 18 to 22. He's probably going to get maybe 25, 26 minutes because
that
playoffs,
guy
right?
is
He missed a lot of games for no
Wor-
reason.
Worries me that Franz's shot is kind of just falling off a cliff for them.
His whole game kind of fell
Yeah.
off.
But who guards Franz? Like, Magic have size across the board. Who
Yeah.
are you putting on Franz, man? Like,
Probably Core.
Okoro, okay,
Yeah.
cool, you do that, but then Okoro, you have to deal with his offense at the other side, right? Like, I think they're going to do a lot of Max Strus, George Niang. You might see some, like, Sam Merrill. I'm deep into this series. I might be the only guy watching it. I like the Magic. I like the
And you
Magic,
can watch
man.
it
This guy
every
flew to
game.
NBA TV.
Yeah, tune into
Pass, NBA
I don't
NBA
think
TV.
these playoffs make me sad. I love betting the playoffs. My Heat are gone. My two favorite teams in the East, the Sixers, the Knicks, are playing each other. The West.
We
is
don't.
just-
You're
listen,
not
man,
officially gone yet.
Listen, man, I don't want.
Dude, Jimmy Butler's out for multiple weeks, man. This is a sad day.
Listen, man, I don't want to.
to.
I don't want to harp on your Heat, but that's why you take the regular season seriously,
whatever, man.
and you don't go into the play-in.
That's
you
your-
talk all year. Oh yeah,
that's
you
your
finished
opinion.
behind the Magic and the Cavs.
They had
What do you want me to
injuries,
tell
man.
you?
Injuries all year, man.
I'll send you the Pitbull link. You can play it before your Cavs. Every Cavs game, you can just play it just to feel the vibes. Real quick, I don't think we don't really have much on Boston other than the price for them to win the East is absolutely
Insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
But like, I don't know who's betting. I'm not going to bet it, but who's betting against them? Maybe Philly. West's Sixers at plus 850.
I don't like it
That's the
anymore.
only.
Yeah, I don't like
Because
it.
of how
The
Embiid
only-
looked yesterday. Yeah.
The only team beating them is themselves at this
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Really, like the path is there for them to just wipe out.
If you like some finals bets, right, like Boston versus Denver,
Yeah.
you might get some value
Now,
there.
Yeah.
Any jabroni on the internet with a microphone in front of them can talk and tell their picks. But let's just here. We each have 5 units. Here is where our money is going, as you can see on the screen. Take a look. Feel free. Go to the comments. Chirp us. Agree with us. Do whatever the hell you want to do.
Pacers, Bucks, or frauds, do it.